I recently spent several weeks vacation in Europe. The first part of the trip was a family vacation, but then I spent a week on my own, traveling by myself to visit friends in other parts of Europe. And as I was visiting other friends, I had to make my way by train to get from one part of Europe to another. There were 2 days where I spent over 10 hours on trains just going, different distances. And in that experience, I had something startling happen as I look back on it. My simple experience of taking trains in Europe gave me a renewed appreciation, a renewed sense of hope for humanity, believe it or not. So that's what I want to talk about today. And as I do, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel as well as to click the bell so you're notified of future videos. Now, in North America, people don't commonly take trains. Many people have never been on anything more than a subway train. So to think about a 4 or 5 hour train ride is just something that's out of context for people in North America. We drive or we travel by plane. But the experience of traveling by train is a bit different from other modes of transportation. There's more of a shared connection with people. And I experienced that in some very dramatic ways. The first train that I got on was overbooked. There was a glitch in the computer system and more tickets were sold than the capacity of the train. And I got on and I had an assigned seat. I went to my assigned seat and someone was there already. And so I said, excuse me, but that's my seat. I have an assignment. And he looks at me and he said, this is my seat. And he pulls out his ticket and shows me that he was assigned to that seat too. And as I'm having this little exchange, the car is getting more and more crowded. There are no seats. People are picking spaces where they're going to stand. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't stand for a 4-hour train ride. My body can't take it because of my own weakness. And I'm thinking, where do I find an attendant? How am I going to solve this when it's so crowded? And out of the blue, someone came up behind me and said to me in English, you look like you could use some help. And I explained to him the situation and I said, I'm looking for an attendant to help sort this out. And so he took me and led me to where I could find an attendant and explained to the attendant in the language of that country what was happening. And she was very helpful. She, again, did a double check on the tickets, saw that both of us were assigned to one seat, and she found me a seat and had me sit in a dining car. And that was fine. I had a seat. I was ready to go. But out of the blue, someone came and offered me assistance whenever I was feeling really overwhelmed. In a different circumstance, the train that I was on ran late. And I arrived in a station and realized that not only did I have to change trains, but I came in on a platform at one end of the station and I had to go 10 platforms over to the other train. And because the first train was late, I didn't know that I was going to make it. And so I'm pushing through the crowd as fast as I can, trying to get there. And I'm coming around onto the platform and the train's down away. And I'm waving to the attendant that I'm coming. And he's signaling to me to run. And I have my bags and I have my arthritis. And with my arthritis, I'm just not able to really run. So I'm making it as fast as I can. And as I'm getting close to the train, I see lights flashing. And then someone jumps off the train, runs to me, grabs my bag, gets me on the train with my bags, and just as I'm getting on that first step into the train, the door is shutting behind me. I'm getting up the steps into the car, and I look to thank the man who helped me. And he was already down in the next car, making his way, and just really helped someone he never met before. I felt so fortunate. As I went through the trains and through much of my travels in Europe, I kept feeling like the character Blanche from Streetcar Named Desire and thinking to myself, I get by depending on the kindness of strangers, because that was really happening for me. But it wasn't just that people were helping me out whenever I was in need. They did, and they did that spontaneously. When I was on the train, whenever I was in compartments or sitting across from people, I repeatedly found people who were open to speaking, to talking, to sharing. They told me about their lives, their work, their families, their travels, so many different things. And I met people that I really connected with. And, I look back and I wish that with a couple of them that I would have gotten contact information because I would have liked to have stayed in touch with them. But it was such a renewing experience. And as I stepped away from the trip and thought back on the trip, I realized that we really have within our power the ability to make the world a better place. We have the ability to reach beyond ourselves, to connect with others, to offer kindness, to show compassion, to take an interest in people. Now, I realize that my experience is based on my being an older white man, and so people look at me in a certain way, and that other people may have different kinds of experiences. But at the bottom line, what I realized was people helped me who were total strangers. People engaged with me and shared personal things who I didn't know, and I shared with them as well. And we made connections. And as I think about it, I think about the Buddha's teaching on compassion and our need to be compassionate toward ourselves and to others, and how people were actively compassionate towards me. And I think about the teachings of Jesus to love one another and to recognize the stranger as a neighbor. And I realized that people welcomed me as a neighbor. And I thought, what would the world be like if more of us did that in an active way? How can we change the world to make it a better place simply by recognizing other people and treating them with kindness and with compassion? Whatever it is that we believe about God or about our spiritual practice, where it really hits the road, where the rubber hits the road, is what we do in our daily life. And what I experienced on that trip was people in their daily life being kind and compassionate towards me, being open and honest and sharing with me. And that was a wonderful gift. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, like the video, share it with others, leave me some comments and questions, and know that I appreciate your time on Spirituality Beyond Borders. Have a great day.